So, if you're a solo founder, you know the deal. You're not just the CEO. You're the entire company. And that grind, it is absolutely relentless. Today, we're going to break down how to build a real productivity system, one that helps you not just get by, but actually thrive without completely burning out. All right, let's dive in. Does this look a little too familiar? Yeah. You knock one thing off your list, and somehow 3 more just magically appear. Your to-do list stops feeling like a plan and starts feeling like this beast that just never stops growing. It's a feeling every solo founder knows. And it's exactly why that old advice to just work harder is so dangerous. So many of us live on the left side of this slide. We're running on pure grit, just white-knuckling it, pushing that boulder up the hill every single day, fueled by nothing but willpower. But here's the thing about grit. It's a finite resource. It runs out. And when it does, that's burnout. Now, a system is different. As you can see on the right, it's a process, it's proactive, it does the heavy lifting for you, and it supports you, even on the days your motivation has totally checked out.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about the solopreneur's trap. Then, we'll walk through 3 really concrete steps: auditing your time, theming your week, and building a fortress for your focus. And finally, we'll get to the real goal behind all of this, which is just plain old consistency.
This right here, this is the solopreneur's trap. You're juggling marketing, product development, customer support, admin. You're doing everything. And in that kind of environment, working harder isn't some badge of honor. It's a straight-up recipe for burnout. And why is that? It's simple. The workload is infinite, but your energy is not. So, how do we get out of this trap? Well, we start with data. We start with the truth. To build a better system, you first have to understand the one you're already using. And trust me, you have one, even if you don't realize it. It is time for a really honest look at where your hours are actually going. And wow, this is usually where most of that time just vanishes. This chart shows this hidden productivity killer. We think we're spending most of our time doing productive work, but a shocking 20 to 30% of the week is completely lost to something called context switching. That's like an entire day of work just gone. Poof. So what on earth is this thing? Think of context switching as a mental tax. Every single time you jump from one type of task to another, like say from deep analytical work in a spreadsheet to writing a creative social media post, you have to pay that tax. It costs you focus, it drains your energy, and it happens with every single switch. The solution is actually super simple. A 3-day time audit. You don't need fancy software. Seriously. For just 3 days, jot down what you're doing in 30-minute blocks. Then go back and label those tasks. Just the act of observing where your time goes, it's incredibly powerful. And as you start labeling your tasks, you'll see they basically fall into 2 main buckets, just like you see here. On the left, you've got your high-value tasks. This is the rocket fuel for your business, the stuff that actually generates revenue and moves the needle. And on the right, maintenance tasks. Answering email, doing admin. It's necessary, but it's just keeping the lights on. The goal is simple. Spend as much time as possible with the rocket fuel. Okay, you've done the audit, you have the data. Step 2 is all about using that data to build a structure that protects your focus. We call it theming your week, and its main job is to crush decision fatigue. Just imagine waking up and already knowing what kind of work you're supposed to be doing. You've already won half the battle for the day. And here's a really great, tangible example of what that looks like. On Mondays, your brain is just in marketing mode. That's it. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, they're for deep, focused product work. And notice how all those little maintenance tasks like admin are all batched together on Thursday. By grouping similar tasks, you basically eliminate that expensive context switching, and you get to stay in that state of flow for so much longer. All right, so you've audited your time, you've themed your week. But look, a great plan is totally useless if you can't protect it. Step 3 is about building a fortress around your single most valuable asset, your attention. This is where we go on the defense against all those distractions. Oh, this quote just nails it. Trying to keep every idea, every task, every reminder just floating around in your head, it creates this constant low-level anxiety. They're sometimes called open loops, and they just suck up your mental energy, leaving less in the tank for the work that actually matters. So the solution is to build what some people call a second brain. It's simpler than it sounds. Just choose one central place. Could be an app like Notion, could be a plain old notebook, doesn't matter. And then you commit to one simple rule. If it's an idea or a to-do, it immediately goes into the system, out of your head. This frees up your mind to actually be creative and present. And here they are, the two non-negotiable pillars of your fortress. First, the night before, you decide on your big three, the three most important things you need to do the next day. And second, and this is huge, you complete your number one task before you even think about checking email or Slack. Because the moment you open your inbox, you're suddenly working on everyone else's agenda, not your own. Okay, let's zoom out for a minute and talk about what this is all really about. These tools, these tricks, they're not about turning you into some productivity robot. No way. The real goal here is to build a system that supports you on your worst day. You know that day, when you're tired, you're uninspired, and you can just feel that burnout creeping back in. This metaphor is just perfect. A productivity system should never feel like a cage that traps you. It should feel like a scaffold. It's that sturdy structure that you can always come back to, giving you the support you need to keep building, especially on those days when you feel like you're about to fall. And really, this is the ultimate takeaway. Life is going to get chaotic. You're going to have off weeks. It's guaranteed. But with a solid system in place, you don't need some heroic effort to get back on track. You don't have to summon that finite grit we talked about. You just return to the process. So don't build a system for the perfect, idealized version of yourself. Build it for the real you, especially the you that's having a really tough day. The question I want to leave you with is this. What's the first small step you can take, maybe even today, to build a system that will have your back down the road? Thanks for joining this explainer.